What up, people? It's your boy Chid from Unit Eagle Eye, coming to you again with one of my rare boxing videos, which I know is going to piss people off. Listen, I'm just trying something a little different, and to be honest, anyone who knows me, who's a long-time subscriber of me, knows I love my boxing. I love my boxing. And yes, the Arsenal game is important. And yes, I have done a preview for that for anyone who hasn't seen my preview special with Amanda, Mike from Gooners in the USA, and Mr. Lee Gunner. Go check that out. Loads of audio problems, but it was a really fun show for that reason, which is kind of weird. But I always intended from last week where I wanted to do a boxing video just because I quite like boxing videos. And don't get me wrong, you know, you're not going to suddenly see this channel bombarded with various different boxing videos unless you guys call for it. But what I do like doing is talking about big fights, because that's what you guys are interested in, and that's what I'm going to try and do for you here. And let's be honest, for me, the event that's going to be must-see is damn sure not Arsenal versus Stoke. I must be honest. The Premier League is done for us. We're kind of just going through the motions there. I'll still watch that game, don't get it twisted, but the real sporting event that I'm looking forward to is Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. Make no mistake, this is not an easy fight, and anyone who tells you it's an easy fight does not know boxing. I think you're looking at two young, hungry, undefeated world champions. When we take a look at Joseph Parker, very talented individual, extremely fast hands, can bang when he wants to, good feet as well, good fast feet. I think has a better IQ in the ring than people give him credit for. And I think his strengths pose some real problems for AJ. I really do. I think he's faster than AJ. He definitely has quicker feet than AJ. Doesn't have AJ beat on power or explosiveness. I don't think he's as explosive as AJ is. But make no mistake, this won't be an easy fight. For those people who are thinking that this is going to be... Now, don't get it twisted. I could look like I have egg on my face here by the time you rewatch this after the fight and say, ha, shit, you talking shit. AJ just absolutely annihilated him in one round. Then I have egg on my face. But mark my words, I'm pretty confident that Joseph Parker is not going to get himself knocked out in the first round. I think he'll understand the threats that AJ poses. And I think this is going to have to be a smart fight for AJ. To me, I think the biggest danger for Joseph Parker is no doubt is the power of Anthony Joshua. And probably overestimating his power. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. His record is nothing compared to AJ's. It just isn't. The best fighter on his resume, probably Takam, maybe. You could argue Ruiz, or I would say Carlos Takam. And we saw what AJ did to Takam. He took every single round. Even though I stand by it, I thought the stoppage of that Takam fight was bullshit. But AJ won literally every single round of that fight. Whereas Joseph Parker struggled to Takam in certain parts of that fight. But I think he'll prepare and prepare diligently. There was at one point that Joseph Parker was supposed to be a #1 contender to Anthony Joshua's IBF title. And he decided to go after the WBO title, which was vacant at the time. And that's the title he currently holds. Remember, people, he is a world champion. Like, this is not some bum we're talking about here. With AJ, I think his strengths are his power. I think he has a better resume. I think the occasion won't faze him. And he is a man who is constantly under pressure. When you even think prior to his pro debut, there was always some expectation with him. Whether it was what he did in the ABA championships, whether it was what he did to win his Olympic gold, or what he's done ever since he's made his pro debut. Eyes have always been on this guy. And I admire him for everything he's achieved. The man is 20-0, 20 knockouts, and has done amazingly well, particularly in this last fight, where you have to drag himself off the ground to a multiple-time world champion, one of the greatest athletes in sport, Vladimir Klitschko, and not only dragged himself off the ground, but knocked him out. One of the best heavyweight fights I've seen in ever. It was that good. I think the main, I keep harping back onto it, but the main strength that AJ possesses is his power. You know, he's not, I don't think he necessarily has a Deontay Wilder one-punch power, but what AJ has is that explosiveness combined with his natural strength, and that's what knocks motherfuckers out. You know, AJ is not the type of person that's going to concuss you in one shot. It's going to hurt like a motherfucker, and the next 4 or 5 shots are also going to hurt you like a motherfucker, and that's where I fear for Jospeh Parker, because he's a come-forward fighter, and AJ is one of the best counter punchers, and people get that twisted. Most of AJ's knockouts, maybe bar, if you want to discount the first 10 of his fights, I would say definitely the last 10 of his fights have been counter punches. He's been countering punches that have come back at him, and he just bombarded them with 4 or 5 shots and really made them count. I think for that reason, I must admit, I have to go with AJ. But you're not going to see me predict a 4-rounder or a 5-round fight. I actually think this will be a difficult fight. Don't be surprised if Jospeh Parker has early success, because not a lot of people know what Jospeh Parker's about. Not really. All we know is he comes forward and he's got fast hands and fast feet. And I think in the early rounds, that will serve him quite well. Where I think AJ will win this fight is kind of round 4 to about round 9, because I think if it gets past round 9, I'm not saying Jospeh Parker will win, but I suspect he may finish stronger. Having said that, typically Jospeh Parker is a fader when the fight drags on a bit longer. I'd like to think that with AJ fully focused on this fight, you have to. You'd be foolish to pay attention to anything but this fight. You know, you've got a man who doesn't want to give up his world crown, who's coming to upset the apple cart, who will become a megastar if he topples the current one. And for that reason, I think AJ will win. I don't think he'll want this to slip. This is not the fight that I believe AJ will lose. I do think there is someone who will beat him. And if he fights him, I will make a prediction that may upset and shock some of you. But this fight, I honestly believe he'll beat Jospeh Parker. And I've said from the very get-go that for me, I think he KOs Jospeh Parker in round 9. Probably having to weather a storm maybe through round 2 to about round 4. And then I think he'll take over the fight. I think he'll be very patient. I think he'll box quite smart. He does look quite slender. I'm hesitant to say that because he kind of looked slender in the last camp and then came in heavy as fuck. And I know I'm one to talk about being heavy, but I'm not a fucking boxer, people. So focusing back on AJ, I actually think he'll come in probably about 17-7, 17-8, which would be good because considering that he came in, I think it was 18-5 last time or 18-6, 18 stone 6. So if he comes in a bit lighter, that tells me that he's preparing for a long fight, really trying to focus on his speed and his power. And that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a 10-round KO. All right, people, you let me know what you think. Are you going to watch the fight? Surely you'd be mad not to. Leave it in the comments below. Also, if you like the content, give me a thumbs up. Absolutely crush. Destroy that like button for me. I appreciate it every time you guys do that. And also, give me your predictions. Anybody who actually likes boxing, not one of them little shitty comments that says, oh, Chief, why are you doing boxing? You should focus on Arsenal. Motherfuckers, it's a boxing video. Get over it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, people, I'm out of here. Have a good 4-day weekend because I know I'm going to. Take care. Peace.